You're listening to the Snob OS podcast, the podcast for Apple snobs. Alrighty then, let's head right on into the Snobbish show. And speaking of the conversation we just had about Tuskegee and the upcoming 2026-2027 academic school year. I know that you have 3 tiny humans. This year is a little bit different for you. You have one that is going to higher education. I think you guys start school next week sometime. All the preparations done, clothes, supplies, plans. Or are y'all still in the working it out phase?
We're towards the end. There may be a couple of supplies left. There may be a couple of personal items to get, but for the most part, for our 2 elementary and high school kids, we're done for the most part. For my oldest, who is going to college in the fall, it's a little bit of an abbreviated / hurry up and wait schedule because my daughter would normally be going to orientation. She would be, attending like virtual events, attending in-person events, all these things at colleges in between your high school and freshman year, all these little things that help you get planned up. Our situation is a little bit different because our kid is not here. She is gallivanting around the country doing these performances, right? So she's been doing as much as she can in her off time as far as making sure she has all of her fees, make sure she has a roommate, make sure she has housing, making sure she's attending all of the required meetings, events, seminars, webinars, right? But as far as in-person stuff, we haven't been able to do any of that, including in-person orientation, when you actually pick your classes and pay for stuff, right? Most kids are doing that now. We have to wait another 2 weeks until my daughter shows up, and then boom, we got to jump right into hurry, do a whole bunch of stuff. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Luckily, my daughter is like her mother and is very organized and very particular. So she was so concerned about getting supplies and stuff for when she moves into the dorm before she even left. So she was bugging her mom and myself about, I'm not going to have that much time when I come home to shop for stuff for the dorm. Forget actually getting into college. Forget even trying to figure out how to pay for it. Her focus before she left for the summertime, before she graduated high school, was, I got to get this stuff together for when I move in. So on that front, we're fine. There may be 1 or 2 things that we may have to run to, Walmart, or
once you get there, kind of lay things out. Yeah.
But the main stuff is sitting in a corner in her room, packed up almost to the ceiling of stuff for the college dorm. So for that, we're fine. It's just once she gets here, we got to hurry up and do the in-person orientation. Got to hurry up and put her in the classes. We got to hurry up and pay for it. So we'll have a
slim window.
Yeah, like a week or 2 window before then we move into, all right, let's pack up the car. Let's figure out what you're taking with you. Let's figure out what you are leaving behind. What you need.
Is she going to be able to take her car?
Yes, she'll take her car. So, making sure I've been doing some stuff to that, making sure it's college ready. Got to get some new tires, got to do a couple little things. But for the most part, we're not doing anything right now for her until she gets back. When she gets back in about a week and a half from now, then we'll be busy.
That sounds very busy. But like you said, your wife and your oldest are very organized people.
Very, very plan ahead for a lot of stuff. I'm more of a, we'll figure it out. Just be easy. It ain't the end of the world if you don't have every single thing crossed off the list before we take the first step. You and your mother, me and your mother both been to college before, so we know the general, even those years ago, decades ago, we got the general understanding of you do this and you do this and you do this, right? So I'm not stressed out. You know, my wife on the other hand, and my
She
daughter on the
is.
other hand, it's just, you know, natural. It's nature, not natural. It's nature for them to be a little bit stressed out, just a little bit.
A
You
little
know, it's like,
frazzled.
right. It's like we'll do what we can when we can. You know, if we can't do anything right now, just relax.
Yeah.
But that's a
It'll
little bit
all work
easier
out.
said than done.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Speaking of moving in, doing orientations, setting up housing, Howard unenrolled 500 and over 500 freshmen 2 weeks before moving, and this has exploded as well. It's like, how are you gonna tell these kids they can't go to school? You've unenrolled them after they've turned down opportunities at other places. And it's been a lot of discourse because on the Howard side, they're saying, well, we sent them information June, July. We sent them all the information about them having
The
to
requirements and the
the
deadlines.
requirements, having the fees paid, having all of these things figured out. And then there are
Mhm.
some talking about, well, we didn't get that or we didn't know. But my thing is, since when did you have to have your balance paid before school started? I know it's been a minute, but when I was in school, the first week or two of school, the financial aid office was packed because people were waiting for grants, people were waiting for
Mhm.
scholarships, people were waiting for
Mhm.
loans and
Mhm.
all that stuff to process. And you didn't get dropped from your
Mhm.
classes
Mhm.
until after
Mhm.
school started
Mhm.
because, again, some people's financial aid
It's late.
isn't done
Scholarships are late.
before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I haven't picked
And
classes yet, and got to wait for the classes to come in get your scholarships. Yeah. Mhm.
And financial aid offices are notoriously bad, but they're
Sure.
even more notoriously bad, I think, at HBCUs, just from the stories I've heard from people,
Mhm. Mhm.
being able to navigate and manage it. So the thing that shocked me the most is before August even hit,
Mhm.
they were like, we unenrolled you, unenrolled. I'm like, can you give people a chance to show up? Maybe they got some money coming in they got to put on their account. That's the
Right.
part that really threw me is them unenrolling them before school even started.
Yeah. So you are on the right track when you say HBCUs specifically struggle with finances, financial aid, and as a result, kids. I mean, I'm a poster child for getting purged, right? Getting purged 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
That didn't necessarily stop me from figuring it out. Um, but yes, you are right. It is weird that they purged them before they even got a chance to um, show proof that the money was coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my day, financial aid, while it was kind of registrar, while it was kind of janky,
Mm-hmm.
the people gave you some grace,
Mm-hmm.
even unofficially, right? Officially, you supposed to have been purged, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they looked out for
The
us,
financial aid people, they helped out.
right? It ain't the case now, right? So I would like to take Howard at its word and say and believe that they actually notified these students multiple times before they unenrolled them. And
Mm-hmm.
then even if they unenrolled them, get the money, figure out the money, and re-enroll back
Re-enroll
into the
them.
classes, right? So I want to on it's two things, it's a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe Howard did y'all was thought we was playing. We sent y'all to because again, I can relate because one, I went to HBCU, and two, my daughter is going to college in the fall. The emails do not stop coming. email on top of email on top of email on top of, you got to do this by this date. You got to do this by this date. You got to do this by this date, or these are the repercussions. I see it. We're looking at it. We're checking stuff off the list because we don't want to be the people who are stuck with no classes,
no school to go to,
or no school to go to, right?
Right.
I think the issue is, well, let me not say the issue. I don't know the Howard's student makeup. I don't know what their the students' family financial situation is. You assume that kids that go to Howard, this is a big stereotype, they come from two parent households who've got government jobs and got good money, right? So it ain't nothing for them to stay on top of their kids to make sure they got their stuff in order before they go to class. That's probably a big generalization. That is a big stereotype. I'm pretty sure there's some kids like myself. I was on my own. I had to apply for financial aid on my own. I had to, and I had two parents at the house, but they didn't go to college. They didn't know, and they know I had it. You know,
you'd figure it out.
Right. Same thing with my daughter, right? She figures it out, right? So, but it was my responsibility. So I had to make sure I was signed up before I got purged. I had to make sure I had scholarship money coming in. I had to make sure. It feels like nowadays some of these kids don't have that same sense of responsibility. So maybe the parents missed something. Maybe the parents asked the kid, like, hey, is everything okay? Are you on track? And the kid does what kids do. Yeah, I got it. Or, yeah, I got it. And ain't looked at the email. My daughter, I'm like, look, you can't wait on text messages. They're not going to text you. They're going to send you an email. So make sure you have your email loaded on your phone and your computer. And you have to go into the email and check the email because you never know what they're going to send from the college, right? I believe that Howard set this new thing up, that it sounds something new, because I think they also mentioned that you have to have 50% paid for before you get this purge thing. And a lot of kids either wasn't keeping up, the parents was assuming that the kids would keep up, or everybody just assumed we'll figure it out when you get here.
And again, let me cut in there. It's almost $40,000 per year to go to Howard. So 50% of $40,000 is $20,000.
Right. And so again,
and that's just like your holding place. I think I saw someone say it was like a good faith that you're going to pay the rest of the money.
Right. And even in that case, right, you have to be savvy, right? If you knew you had grants, if you knew you had scholarships, but you also know you have to have a certain dollar amount in order to stay enrolled, apply for a loan. Get the money in there, pay the scholarship, pay the tuition with the scholarships, get the money back to the people. You know what I'm saying? It feels like, and this is me gonna be blunt, honest. It feels like these kids and these parents wasn't paying attention to what was going on, or was going to call Howard's bluff when Howard doubled down and the kids was, all they were unenrolled. They didn't say you can't come back to school. All they said, well, to my knowledge, all they said was you are unenrolled, get your money, and then you can sign back into class, right? And quote me, and if I'm wrong, and Howard said, well, you're unenrolled, wait till next semester. But that don't even sound like something Howard would say. It sounds like they got purged, and again, social media's out here. So you can have some little black kid crying on social media that I got purged. And then the other kids chime up and say, I got purged too. And it became a thing that Howard now has to address. When in actuality, kids get purged every single semester, all the time. And you figure it out, right? If it seems like they're figuring it out is bully Howard via social media and have them say, "Oh, our bad. Everybody can re-enroll," right? But when in actuality, you get purged, you get the money. You may have some crappy classes because all the good classes are gone, but that's
you got
college,
all 8
baby.
o'clock classes, but I mean, you still got them.
That's college. That is a rite of passage.
A learned lesson.
To get purged at an HBCU, to get purged out of your good classes and have to take some weird Friday 6:00 p.m. class when you know everybody's getting ready to go to the game, or you know everybody's getting ready to go to the that is a thing at a Black college. Welcome to HBCU life, baby.
And I think what you mentioned about, the figure it out portion, I think this new generation, and honestly, this new generation's parents, they don't have that figure it out gene. They have that you should do what on my time.
Mm-hmm.
You should.
My situation's
I'm entitled
different.
to this.
I'm special.
Yes.
Y'all should look out for me. The rules don't apply to me.
Yeah.
I should be an exemption, and not to do what I just got mad at in the previous show, not to wag my finger at these kids, in this younger generation, kids today. But at the same time, it's like, yo, this is a new experience, and I get it.
Y'all about business too. You got to figure it out.
Y'all freaked out that you don't have any classes. That don't mean you're not kicked out of school. Like, before you get on the internet and complain, which what a lot of people do nowadays. Like, man, all right. Again,
go back and read the email. When you get the email, you're unenrolled. Go back and find out how to get re-enrolled again.
If you're waiting on money and if you claim the money's coming, again, like I said, there's 50 million thousand ways you can get some quick money just to get into the classes, and then when your scholarship money back, pay the people back. If you're really about it, you'll figure it out.
And I will say that of the 502 students who are unenrolled, 46 have been reinstated, and Howard says they are reviewing them on individual case by case,
which is what they always done. So I don't understand. Are the 500 people complaining, saying that this was some sort of master plan targeted?
They're saying they didn't know people. They weren't told.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Again, not to make it about me, not to make my situation everybody's situation, but the amount of emails that we get in preparation for your first semester at a college, they send you them emails. And I don't believe Howard was just like, we're just going to do this new thing and y'all just had to figure it out. I'm pretty sure they gave you the guidelines and you just said, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. And then when Howard called you bluff, you run the social media when,
Yeah, because one parent it said that after the student was unenrolled, her mother said the school's automated system would not allow them to enroll in a payment plan because the amount that was owed made them ineligible to sign up. So they knew it sounds like they knew they were going to have to pay for this.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of doing the payment plan before you got unenrolled, now you're trying to go back and do it instead of doing it when you should have done it. When
and that takes time.
Got the email that says it. And it's a whole system. It's automated. They can't have people. They don't, especially at an HBCU, they don't have hundreds of people manning the phones.
Or no big data center with the big servers that can immediately turn around decisions.
Or customer service people to do all this.
Nope. They ain't got none of that, right? Unfortunately, they don't have none of that. Again, that's the gift and the curse of going to HBCU. You're going to an HBCU because of the culture, because of the HBCU. Yeah. But also, you got to take that.
It's some bad with that culture, baby.
You got to take that with the problems that come with it, right?
So, and there are known problems and have been known problems for decades.
And that's the same with every college, whether it's a PWI, whether it's a community college, whether it's a vocational
trade school,
whatever. There are some things that come along with it.
You got to follow them people's rules, especially when it comes to this money.
Right. Now, they may have a point to where they say, Howard is not giving grace by saying, okay, well, since you don't have the money, that makes you ineligible to even re-enroll until you get all the money. I can see that being frustrating, right? So now you literally have to wait on the sidelines while you beg and plead and force your scholarships, your grants to come through. But I mean, hey,
But do they
you got
lose
to.
housing?
I don't know about it. I don't know. Maybe, and that could be a potential issue that maybe Howard needs to bend a little bit on and say,
They
hey,
should show,
for
honestly, at this
for
point, they should probably show some grace.
and they may
But at the same time, if they communicated to these people what needed to be done, the onus is on the students and the parents.
right. This is responsibility. Colleges is supposed to teach you
They getting the first
responsibility.
lesson early.
Right, right. And I had a thought and then I lost it. I was gonna say, oh, that's what I was gonna say. All it says is they were unenrolled. That doesn't mean they were dropped from the college, right? Which leads me to believe,
Or the admission was rescinded.
is that what it says?
No, I'm
Admission was
saying
rescinded? Oh,
no,
yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
it doesn't say that.
Right, right, right. Which would lead me to believe that you'll probably have housing, you'll probably have board, but as far as classes, you won't have any classes until you get the money. Which, again, I was the
If they told
king.
you that's how it was, then
I was the king back in my day of not having classes until 3 and 4 weeks into the school year. Finally, the money, I found a way to make the money come through. I enrolled in them crappy classes that everybody avoided like the plague, but I was in class, and it's just like maybe today's generation, they don't want to be bothered with, they don't want to be inconvenienced, right?
yeah,
And
they think they're entitled to
well, I
special
want to say,
treatment.
yeah, I want to say entitled, but it's more like an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience to have to show up on Howard's campus and find out you've been unenrolled, right?
Yeah.
And dealing with that inconvenience is, some people get it done, but it seems like a lot of these kids today, try to drum up some sympathy on social media, right?
And kind of make them, you got to enroll these kids back in regardless of what the situation is.
When they just got purged, got purged. It just so happened that these kids drummed up enough static to make it an issue.
CNN's reporting on this because we're reading an article from CNN. And the only other thing, like I said at the top of this, is it's unusual to me that they would purge this early.
Right. And yes, but if they told
this is their policy that you have to have X amount of dollars paid by X amount of day, then as lame as it sounds, that's their policy. And you got to figure out, what your money situation is prior to that to make sure that you're in there. But I think a lot of these people didn't think that anything would actually happen to them. I don't think they thought that they would actually be unenrolled. I think, like you said, they figured once they get to campus, they'll figure it out. They'll have the money sorted out by then, and it'll be fine. I don't think they expected to have repercussions this swift.
Yep, and maybe Howard gambled because the story says, colleges try to walk a fine line, right? And they talk about University of Tennessee. Colleges generally try to walk a fine line in making sure students can enroll, but also making sure students pay their bills. And it says Howard either, quote, had students who owed a lot of money and they didn't think a lot of students would pay, or potentially they have a really big incoming class and they can replace those students. So in other words,
people on the wait list.
Right. And if I got all my money in and I got my money
and I'm on the wait list. Here, take my money. I'm ready.
Get them kids off so I can get in, Jack. If you got kids that ain't that just applied, right? Because I can see this, right? You applied, you got accepted, you complied, or you affirmed up to a certain point. And then when it came to the money, you was like, ooh, I got to pay this much. Well, oh well, and just didn't show up. So Howard's like, look, man, we got a lot of people
who could take that slot, who got the money.
We got people who could take that slot, who's got all their money in. So get them out, get these kids in. Once you find the money, welcome to Howard. But until then, sit on the sidelines and figure it out.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. As jarring as it is, and I'm sure as disappointing as it is, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But again, as we talk about all the time, it's a capitalist society. Even higher education is all about the money coming and going.
And they list a person, right, in the CNN story. It says, Azara Miles, who plans to major in biology, chose Howard over other schools that accepted her. Now she is worried that she is too deep into the summer, not too deep into the school year, too deep into the summer to enroll elsewhere. Everybody's housing is booked. I'm assuming she means everybody, other colleges that she applied to, or I can't enroll because it's too late or I missed orientation. I've been trying to continue to have hope with Howard, but I don't really have that much time before school starts, and I don't really want to have a gap year. Ain't nobody said nothing about a gap year.
Wait, just give them the money then.
Just wait until you got the money.
Because you have to pay to go to another school. If you went somewhere else, you got to pay them people too.
Just wait on the sidelines, get your money together, and then enroll.
Get them crappy classes.
It sounds like people are inconvenienced but they lead it on to believe that they have been halted and turned away from Howard as a whole by saying the kids was unenrolled. You was just unenrolled. That's all it means, is you was unenrolled. Now, again, not trying to make light. I can imagine
the distress.
Parents and kids, right, distressed on top of stressed, on top
imagine
of
if you're out of state.
Right. Imagine not having answers because everything is automated nowadays. Now
all the lines are busy. You can't find a person.
And everything's AI now or representative, right? So I can imagine that as opposed to what we used to do, stand in line for hours on hours on hours until we got to talk to the lady, right? By that time, she was so worn down that she looked out for your boy.
Right? She give you whatever so she could just go so you can get out my face.
I'm gonna put this hold on your joint until you got 2 weeks. I'm like, thank you kindly, right? Nowadays, everything is automated.
Yeah.
If you ain't got your stuff right, the system kicked you out, not Howard. The system kicked you out. And that's just what happens nowadays. You got to have your money in or that system is going to kick you out. And you can't just get on the phone.
The number is not 0 or it's not at the 50%. And I was like, whoops, out of here.
Even us, like I said, my daughter's off in another state right now doing something, to where we're like, all right, well, we got to, we looking around, make sure we can figure out ways to hold her spot until she gets here so she can do what she needs to do, and I'm not saying it's stressful, but at the same time, it's like, all right,
it's a thing.
We got a plan and we got to have A and we got to have plan B and we got to have plan C and we got to have everything set up. So when we do it, we are not the linchpin because what you don't want to be is you are the bottleneck, right? You want the school to be the bottleneck. You don't want you not reading emails, you not thinking that they're going to purge you. The problem. Yeah.
I really think they didn't think there were going to be any consequences if they didn't pay that money by the time. I really think that they thought it would be okay, that nothing was going to happen.
Right. And there's another story. It says Collins, person named Sanaya Collins, learned Wednesday she is no longer enrolled at Howard. Collins received an email from the school Wednesday afternoon that said a July 10th deadline to pay her tuition balance or make payment arrangements had passed and the school could no longer hold her place. Not you are no longer admitted to the University of Howard. You missed the deadline, so we can't hold your place. Not that you don't have a place. We just not going to hold it for you.
So a waitlist person got her spot and she probably moved back down to the waitlist.
Right. And move back down to the waitlist. Or like we said, when you have the money, you can enroll in some classes, but by then all the classes are gone. And I think that is what's, again, please, if you're listening to me and you are a Howard student or you're a parent of a Howard student, I get it. This is probably super stressful. And the last thing you want to hear is, should have been reading them emails.
Because we get it. People work. People have other things. People have life. Things happen. We get it. It's a lot. And I'm sure the emails are probably endless. And it's like, this is probably just something I can read later, or I will read it later, and later never happened, and you didn't go back to it because you was doing something else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
so I feel for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what comes with responsibility. That makes sure your stuff is taken care of. You can control, and that's what I teach my daughter. Control everything that you can control. The stuff that you can't control, you just you can't control it. You do your best. and you relax and let everything else ride. But don't be the problem. If
Yeah.
you the problem, no sympathy for you.
Hopefully, all these kids will get their
And they
situation
will,
figured out, and they'll get
especially
back
now
in.
that the attention is on Howard.
They'll
On
make it
top of
work.
on top of all the other stuff Howard is going through right now.
Yeah.
Last thing they want to have is the students mad at them.
Yeah.
So they'll figure it out. But I mean, you got to put your foot down. You just can't have kids just signing up for stuff, and then the school is like, "All right, you coming? You coming? You coming? Because we got these other kids over here."
We want to come.
Yeah. I get, yeah. Sure. And then when you get there, it's like, oh, make it everything about me. You need to stop what you're doing as a school to make sure I'm taken care of. And that's not how.
Forget the other 499 people. Me.
Yeah. Forget the 2,000 or 3,000, however many students are matriculating at Howard
for the incoming freshman class.
Right. Now. Right. And Howard's like, man, literally, we got other stuff to worry about right now than
literally. Yeah. Again, I'm sure it'll all work out. And this is likely a very teachable moment, a learned lesson, and maybe going forward, this is going to help them as they go on this college journey and this journey to be an adult. To don't assume that the deadline is an arbitrary thing, but assume that it really means it is a deadline, and you have to have these things in by this day.
And it says again, I'm gonna try to stop beating a dead horse. Starting in March, January, February, March, the unenrolled students began receiving specific communications about enrollment requirements, payment expectations, and deadlines via email and orientation sessions, the school said. If they're lying, nail them to the wall.
Yeah.
If they sent them emails and they sent them requirements and they sent them deadlines, what do you expect them to do, man?
Yeah.
They sent it back in March. That was between March and now is a lot of time for you to figure out how you're going to pay for college, right? You supposed to have been started figuring out paying for college.
And if you had to go somewhere else other than Howard, you were going to have the same thing.
It's the same
process.
Right.
At all of these schools.
So, I mean, lesson
learned, I think.
Yeah. I hope y'all figure it out. But I mean, I bet spring semester, November, December, I bet you figure it out. I bet you figure it out before y'all leave campus.
I'm going to be on top of this.
All right. So moving on to the next story I got. Forbes has dropped its first ever HBCU-Only ranking. So I'm assuming Forbes has a list of all kinds of things, including
I think they do like top colleges in the country or whatever. Yeah.
Right. And I think for the longest, maybe some HBCU showed up on that list somewhere long down at the list.
Howard.
Right. So Forbes published its first standalone HBCU ranking on August 1st, titled Top HBCUs 20 Historically Black Colleges That Set Grads Up for Success. Again, like I mentioned before this, HBCUs mostly got buried inside the Forbes General America's Top 500 Colleges list, where only Howard and Spelman ever cracked the cut in the list's history. This time, Forbes built the list from scratch. 10 private, 10 public HBCUs ranked purely on outcomes, graduation and retention rates, alumni earnings, student debt load, and how well each school serves Pell Grant recipients. Howard leads the private schools. North Carolina A&T tops the public list. FAMU landed in the top 5. TSU is in there somewhere as well. Reaction online has been split down the middle, and this is where I want to get your take on it. Plenty of alumni pride at the recognition, but a real strain on, quote, why are we letting Forbes tell us HBCUs are good in the first place? So where do you stand on this side? Are you like, this is good publicity? Finally, Forbes doing something special that, really highlights and identifies and what's the word? Focuses on HBCUs when normally they wouldn't get that attention? Or are you on the side of why are we so excited that Forbes that never really cared to do this in the first place? Why are we all jumping for joy when, quote unquote, the white man tells us we're good, right? What side of the story you stand on this?
Honestly, it's like a double-edged sword because it is publicity for the
Mm-hmm.
universities. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure the administration of these universities are super excited because now they can slap this label
Mm-hmm.
on their merch, number one or top 10 or
Mm-hmm.
number
Mm-hmm.
two on Forbes, because Forbes still it still has name recognition, is still considered a highly credible and
Mm-hmm.
influential place.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's like, well, who cares what these people think? We've
Right.
been knew
Mm-hmm.
HBCUs are good. Y'all are the ones that have been sleeping on it. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mm-hmm.
it what it does do, it does give attention to the non Howard, Spelman, and Morehouse. Because honestly, Howard, Spelman, and Morehouse are usually only HBCUs that get talked about
Mm-hmm.
nationally or mainstream. Maybe FAM too, but Howard, Spelman, and Morehouse, those are the upper echelon, quote unquote, white gazed approved. And I think what this does is they're doing the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another 17 universities who get some shine, who get some acknowledgement, who get viewed, who, I think that's the good part of it. And it just depends on how much, I guess, value you put on Forbes, because
Mm-hmm.
even though Forbes is still widely recognized and known, it has lost its luster. Especially, we've seen the 30 under 30, a bunch of them ended up, not being so great. And then people
Mm-hmm.
started finding out you have to pay to get on these lists. Um, so uh
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so I didn't realize it, but a lot of the 30 under 30, 40 under 40, you get on the top 10 top tech people or top 10 philanthropists. You have to
Mm-hmm.
pay for those things.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So they say.
to me, a list is a list is a list.
Mhm.
I don't think we should look too deep into it.
Mm.
We don't look too deep into any of the other Forbes lists, with the exception of people who are actually on them, whether they
Mhm.
pay for it or not.
Mhm.
Those are the people who are most concerned when the list comes out. You know, um, there's all kind of lists that Forbes does
Yeah.
that, Time does them, all the publications do a top 10, this and that and the third.
Mhm.
It's nice that they are focusing on HBCUs and giving them their own list as opposed to burying them within the top 500.
When
I
only
think that's
two of them have been on the list.
right, right. I think that's admirable, but that's it. I just think it's admirable. I don't think we should look too deep into it. We know the value of HBCUs and we have been doing that, regardless of the attention that we get. My main concern, public, uh, present company included, is the main problem, in my opinion, that HBCUs suffer from is funding from alumni.
Hmm.
We love our HBCUs
Oh,
down.
be at homecoming, doing
We
it
go to
up.
homecoming, we get all the paraphernalia, we get the t-shirts, we get all the things. But when it comes to like them foundation drives and them scholarship drives and them
When them emails be
drives,
coming
when
in the
when them emails, them phone calls come, we be ducking them, we be dodging
mail.
them, we be avoiding them like the plague until, like I said, it's homecoming time, right? So it's like if we are so concerned about why are we worried about what other people think and how they rank us and why we know what the influence, we know what the impact is. We need to start putting our money behind these HBCUs
Mhm.
so they not having to drop 500 kids and purge them and have to readmit them, and they don't have to come up with these crazy rules as to how students should dress on campus, and they should not be worried about whether you're going to be housed in a roach motel because they ain't got housing. We wouldn't have to do that. And if they were, if we supported the HBCUs the way we claim we do when stuff like this comes out, this would not be such a hot topic. It'd just
Yeah.
be like, oh well, but it ain't, because we struggling for money.
Yeah.
On top of what the states are not giving us, on
Yep.
top of what the
Cheating us
states,
out of.
we got that.
Yeah.
To overcompensate for that, we need to come out our pockets as alumni, and
Yeah.
we're not doing it.
Yeah. And like I said, I did not go to HBCUs.
Mm-hmm.
And surely enough, when they send me those emails and the alumni magazines, I'll
Mm-hmm.
flip through the magazines, see what they talk about, see if anything interesting. But yeah, let somebody else do it. But
Yep.
on the
Yep.
HBCU side, because the universities that I went to, they got plenty of money.
And they
They
get it,
got plenty of money coming in
they get it
from
from
the
their
alumni.
alumni.
I
They
mean, they
drop
be
big bucks.
dropping buckets. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why when they send me those emails, I be like, I know
Y'all got
y'all
it.
waiting for it. They was like,
Y'all got it.
y'all went to this school. We know what y'all make. We got an
Mm-hmm.
average, a median of what, income y'all make. Y'all got it. So go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
send it on over. And
And they
people do. And
right.
they do it in large
Mm-hmm.
amounts
These
of
people will
money
die and will give all their money to the
to the
HBCU.
school.
So yeah, we need to, if we care like we say we do, and we turn our noses up at stuff like this, well, let's do our part so we ain't got to worry about it.
Give that
So,
financial support like you giving that support coming to homecoming.
you spend the big bucks, get
Mm-hmm.
them hotels and them parking spaces. All right,
Events and
so
whatnot.
all right, so that's going to do it for the Snobbish Show. We thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you all next week.